Welcome back to Living Local. Fascination with the paranormal has gone mainstream in our culture as of late. For those intrigued by ghost spirits and hauntings, an upcoming conference in Galena will be a valuable source for diving deeper into the presence of supernatural forces and dark history. Here to tell us more about that today is Ted Williams and Robin Davis, co-owners of the Haunted Galena Tour Company. Both of you, thank you so much for coming in.
Well, thank you.
Let's talk about this whole thing with the paranormal, first of all, before we get into the details. Why do you think people are so fascinated with all things ghosts and paranormal activity and such?
You know, I think there's always been a fascination with it. It goes back, you know, prehistoric times, people gathered around campfires. But, you know, recently there's been an explosion of folks talking about it. There's all the ghost shows on TV, social media. You know, 20, 30 years ago, if people had a paranormal encounter, they may not be so eager to share it because people might look at you a little suspiciously. Sure. But today, with people studying it far more academically and it's become a large entertainment product, people are a little bit more forthcoming. I think that out of everything, the fact that you can discuss experiences that you've had without being, you know, considered a little bit off or judged, that has really brought folks a little bit more to the forefront. We have a lot of people, even on our regular tour, that will tell us stories, often, I believe, for the first time. You know, you can tell they're a little shy to talk about it, but once they do. So I think that there's always been an interest in the unknown and ghosts, the paranormal, but we're coming into an age now where it's okay to discuss experiences, and folks are doing a lot more of it, which makes our business a lot more entertaining.
I was going to say, you mentioned the tours. Tell us about that. Haunted Galena Tour Company, right? That's what
Yes.
it's called. How did that start?
Well, gosh, go ahead.
So back in about 2001, Ted was sitting around, probably having a drink with a friend of his named Wendy.
That's how all good things start.
All good things start with a drink. And they decided that Galena needed a ghost tour. So they created the Annie Wiggins Ghost Tour, which the Annie Wiggins was a bed and breakfast. So they started the ghost tours out of there, and they decided that they would be researched and fact-based, talking about what are the famous hauntings in Galena, but what is the back story of that haunting? What event happened that led to that haunting? What is the dark history? And they began doing 90-minute walking tours, walking around the city to some of those locations where hauntings had occurred and telling the stories of old Galena and its dark history. And it became very, very popular. After about a good 10-year run or so, you were sending your son to high school, and they decided to kind of stop doing it for a while.
Took a little time off.
Took a little respite. And fast forward to about 2015, and we decided, you know, no one's doing the historic-based researched ghost tours anymore, walking around town with the lantern and telling the stories. And so we decided to bring it back, and it's been really, really fun bringing it back to Galena.
We find people respond well to the stories, the backstories behind hauntings. It's not just the activity.
Right.
You know, people are very interested in the history, and so it's been a real pleasure to entertain folks delivering our ghost stories on that level.
Oh my gosh, I bet. Now you've also got a conference, right? The Haunted Galena Conference. Tell us about that. Why exactly, and how that all came up, how it works, what is it?
Well, the conference came about because oftentimes when people came on our tours, they wanted more. You know, it's a 90-minute tour that we generally give, and so people afterwards would have lots of questions and wanted to know where they could find out more information. They wanted books and everything else. And so obviously the need for a platform to delve a little deeper was clearly there. So we, after doing some research and attending other conferences as well, decided that bringing one to Galena would be a great idea. After all, Galena is the largest, one of the largest intact historic districts in the U.S.
Right.
Lots of old buildings, a lot of hauntings. Plus, we have an infrastructure that'll accommodate you know, people coming in. So we decided to put the conference together, and this year, May 15th and 16th, 2020, we will have our first Haunted Galena conference, and we're really looking forward to it. It'll feature authors and researchers into ghostly and paranormal subjects, And it's small. It's about 120 people.
Okay.
And you'll have a chance to actually hear talks from all
I was going to
these
say, what
experts.
kind of topics do you cover? And can you reveal any of them?
Oh, of course. You know,
Just out of curiosity.
Oh, yeah, there's a gentleman by the name of Troy Taylor, who's a very well-known and prominent author in all things paranormal, is going to be there. He's written over 130 books, and his topic's going to be on the history of spiritualism, seances and whatnot.
Okay.
Who else do we have coming?
We have a woman from the Milwaukee, Wisconsin area. We're really trying to focus on Midwest paranormal researchers and authors, and we have many wonderful people in the Midwest. One of them is a woman named Allison Jornlund from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. She is going to release a book very soon on women in the paranormal. So she's going to talk about women throughout history who have been leaders in the field of ghosts, paranormal investigations, cryptids, which are things like the Beast of Brer Road in Wisconsin, and also Bigfoot is a cryptid.
Okay.
And she's going to talk about how women have been so impactful in this, and yet we don't hear much about the women.
Sure.
We're also going to have someone come in from the Madison, Wisconsin area and talk about the Mothman.
Tobias Wayland, and he's an author who's just written a book, actually, about Mothman sightings over Lake Michigan and the Great Lakes. Him and his wife, Emily, also run something called the Singular Fortean Society, which is all things mysterious and paranormal. And so they're a lot of fun. Tobias will be addressing his research on Mothman sightings.
We will also do a presentation on the two most haunted locations in Galena. One is the Abley House, where there were 6 unexplained deaths and 1 suicide. And it is a very haunted location, yes. And also the DeSoto House Hotel, which has been haunted for the last 160 years by the Lady in Black. So we're going to talk about the stories of those places.
And finally, we have an old tavern in Shullsburg, Wisconsin, a nearby area that actually is been purchased and is being restored as a tavern. It was called the Berry Tavern. And it was a stagecoach stop, but it suffered a murder and a cholera epidemic that were quite devastating. So there'll be a gentleman named Corey Ritterbush, who is the president of the Friends of Berry Tavern, which are involved in the restoration of the property. He'll give the history. There's a group called the Transcendent Paranormal Society, headed by a gentleman named Jim Winter, and they'll do explanation of the investigations that have gone on there and their findings as well. So really a full day, a lot of great speakers and authors. So
and
you can
and
come.
You said coming up on May 15th,
15th and 16th.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of history, a lot of paranormal activity.
Absolutely.
Ted, Robin, thank you so much for coming in today. If you would like more information on the conference, the tours, just head to their website, hauntedgalenatourcompany.com. We'll also have those details posted on our website, ourquadcities.com.